Hello, and welcome back to Alan Wake's American Nightmare, with something a little different this time. Because you see, what happens when I record these is that I record the audio and the video separately, and then when I'm editing them, I just squish them together. But, for this particular part, the audio was completely corrupted. So now I'm recording again afterwards, so I apologize if things are a little awkward. I'm not exactly used to doing things this way. So, when we last played, from this point, we did a lot. We destroyed that oil rig, we met that lady who was very weird, then she died, and now we're looting the motel rooms because we found the key for all of them. We also opened that box that took manuscript pages to open.
Damn.
Here we find a dead man.
Michael Farabee. Dead. Tortured. Dressed in clothes that bore the name of a local observatory. A slim lead, but solid enough.
Let's say it was a reasonable lead. Now here is where the game kind of pulls a bit of a dick move. Because I pick these keys up just assuming I'll need them to when I go to the observatory. But no, picking up those keys ends the stage.
The observatory.
I was very upset because I hadn't gone and gotten that manuscript page from the other motel room yet.
The light forges on to see the
stars. It would have been nice to get some sort of warning, you know? You feel? You feel? I was upset. I was moaning and griping a lot right now at this point. You know, as I tend to do. I also completely butchered the opening, called it American Wake's Alan Nightmare.
To witness the magnificence of the universe.
But you'll never know, you'll never see that now because the audio just messed up.
Light is looking for. He has come to find a weapon.
When you're looking for weapons, the first place you should always go to is the nerds, okay? So now I've noticed there's a page over here. Spooky shadows come around and distract me from my goal, though.
As a storyteller, my first real love was crime. And it was in that genre that I finished my first novel, starring the perpetually miserable Alex Casey.
It's best to write what you know, after all.
His entire life was a wound that never healed. The books sold as fast as they hit the shelves. I wrote 5 more Alex Casey books, and they all were bestsellers. I became rich. I became famous. Success brought pressure, and I didn't handle it very well.
Poor Alan. What will he ever do with his riches and his fame? Do you know the things that I would do to be rich and famous, Alan? There are a lot of things. This gate's pretty cool. It makes a very strange noise that you'll hear in a second. Now I'm distracted by this tumbleweed. I made a very funny joke about how we were playing Tumbleweed Simulator 2015 now. It wasn't actually very funny. You should be thankful that you can't hear it. Did you hear it? That gate makes a wooden door sound. Listen. I've noticed this as well, that's why I'm opening and closing it a few times. See, I notice things sometimes. I know that old Trilby blazes by a lot of things and doesn't notice it, but sometimes he notices things. Like past me, right there. Noticed that the sound effect was wrong. Good job, past me. This didn't really strike me as odd at the time, but why are firefighters here out in the observatory? I guess they're just zombies, or like, not really zombies, but like quasi-zombies, so it's probably not worth thinking about. Especially since this is like Tales from the Crypt, kind of like weird side story that doesn't make a lot of sense anyway. Like the Twilight Zone. I'm about to be very sad in a moment. Because I'm like, oh, look, it's one of those things again. 40 manuscript pages. Do you know how many manuscript pages we have right now? 5. And now I'm going to try and find out how many I have. And I'm sad that it doesn't tell me exactly how many I have. And I have to, like, look at them both. But yeah, second stage, it wants you to find 40. And do you know what the funny thing is? On the third stage, because I've recorded a few parts ahead at this point, on the third stage, there is a box that takes 20 manuscript pages. Isn't that amazing? The third stage has one that takes half as many. Alan, just like in the first game, can't keep a hold of his weapons between stages, apparently.
Hello? I'm Dr. Rachel Meadows, and... Wait a moment, it's you! I can't believe you dare show your face around here again.
How dare you? I am so angry at you. How dare you show your face again, sir? Now we're killing shadows. It's very exciting, very interesting. There's much interesting commentary to add. I shot them very good, as you can see. I kind of like it because it doesn't do the same thing the first game did quite as much, where they just like threw hundreds at you from behind while you're trying to deal with other stuff. It's much better.
What you're going with? Please.
I'm trying to stop him. You saw those shadow things trying to kill me, right?
How could you possibly think that this Alan would be the same Alan? Also, he was wearing a suit and I'm wearing plaid.
All right, come on in.
Couldn't possibly be the same person.
Hey, buddy.
Fun times
Figured
again.
I'd take a moment to talk to you. There's a party next door. I'm feeling pretty good right now.
These, I noticed also, just get progressively weirder and weirder also. This one's gonna seem pretty weird, but it's pretty tame compared to one that shows up later.
Listen, this whole thing between us, it's a little weird for me too, you know? I mean, we don't just look the same, there's a lot we share. I mean, up here. I know you, right? So I was thinking maybe we could...
For real though, they do have quite a lot in common, because as I established during the first game, Alan's kind of an asshole. Mr. Scratch also. He's a huge asshole, so they have a lot in common there. The only difference though is that Mr. Scratch couldn't pull off the plaid nearly as well as Alan.
Look, I feel like we're both victims of circumstance here. And maybe we could make some kind of effort to...
Poor Mr. Scratch, he hates it when people are having fun. How dare they enjoy themselves and partake in merriment.
Never mind.
The actor that they got to do these live action sequences with Mr. Scratch is actually really good. He's a very creepy guy, don't you agree? I quite like those sections a lot. I don't know why I stopped to look at that.
Just a moment, I'll send the lift down to you. I didn't expect to see anyone here tonight, but I'm relieved to see an actual person. That's assuming this isn't some kind of cruel trick on your part.
You can trust a man in plaid, don't worry. Truckers are honest people. Something I didn't notice about this at the time, which I just noticed though, is that there's no button on it. So what do you do if everyone's down and no one's up there, where you obviously control it from? Are you just kind of boned?
Doctor, the man who looked like me, what did he want here?
There's a strange astronomical event happening right now. Something I can't begin to classify, but I think it's disabled our satellite. There's a very peculiar signal that we're receiving.
A signal. That's what I'm here for.
Well, so was he. but he didn't seem to understand it at all. He got very angry, sabotaged our imaging array, and now we're blind. I believe the event is still going on, but we can't pick it up.
Is there something we can do?
What he broke is essentially just a special camera, but we can't use the telescope without it. There's a replacement in my car. If you can get that to me, we're back in business.
Consider it done.
After
Tell
we
me
have
more
a
about
chat,
the
of
signal.
course, because we have to
It's almost
exhaust
as
all
if
our dialogue
something's
before we
being
can move on.
transmitted to Night Springs. It's the strangest thing. It's quite elusive, almost as if it wasn't properly there. I don't know how to describe it.
So, what was the signal like?
I wish I knew. He appeared before
Would
I
you
had a good
describe it
fix on
perhaps
He was
as
very
a
pleasant when I was
glowing
working,
cloud of
but when I
sorts?
isolated the signal, he suddenly forced me out of the
A
control
glow
booth. He
cloud,
said it was none
as
of my
it might be
business.
put.
He seemed to change. Somehow he was very smooth and charming before that, but suddenly he became, I'm sorry. I'm not sure I want to talk about it.
But then she talks about it.
I have to ask, do you always wear that to work?
There's a long pause
I was
there.
at
I
a
must have made
party
something
for a
very,
local
very
art
funny
exhibition.
joke, but I can't remember it.
Fascinating works. When I was called
You
away
know, just
by my
like the
assistant,
tumbleweed.
Michael
It must
was
have been
the
very
first to
funny.
spot this event. I don't know where he is now, actually. He was supposed to bring us some food, but he never showed up.
Tell me about the event.
Oh, it's quite fascinating. It looks as if stars were changing, somehow. Or shifting positions. It isn't really happening, of course. Most likely it's caused by some kind of atmospheric refraction phenomenon. But I've never seen anything like it.
Did he hurt you?
No, he didn't quite threaten me exactly, but those shadowy things started to crawl into view, and whatever the signal was, he seemed to be extremely frustrated by it. He just started breaking things
Mr.
and
Scratch
left.
does have what we
I
would
thought it
call a
best not to
short
interfere.
temper, though,
You were lucky.
so
He's done much
not
worse.
entirely surprising.
Yes. He showed me a knife, and he kept talking. He enjoyed the sound of his own voice. A proper maniac. You really aren't anything like him, are you?
Believe me, I try very hard not to be.
Pretty sure she's supposed to be British, but she has a really, like, it's not even an accent. It's just kind of a slight inflection, which I guess is all really an accent is, but you get what you get my point. You understand. You get me. Deep down, you get me. We're connected, you and I. We're like siblings, but closer.
Good luck, and try to be careful. It's a very expensive part, and we don't have a replacement. Oh dear, that sounded more callous than I intended.
Now
be
I'm being
safe.
offended that she thinks I'm not safe. I'm about to make a very funny joke about how I'm always safe with things that are fragile. That was the joke. I say I'm careful, but then I shot it. But you'll never hear that funny joke now. Just like you'll never hear all the other funny jokes. I'm kind of lost now. I kind of like this, setup for this game where it's like a hub and then you walk around and do things within this hub. Because I thought one of the problems with the actual Alan Wake game was that sections tended to drag on for a very long time and not really get anywhere. This game, it seems much more succinct in this one, you know? I appreciate that. Now I'm being very suspicious of these spider webs. As you're about to see, there's good cause because there's chittering, there's big spider webs everywhere. It's ominous, you know. It kind of gave me vibes of what's that called? The Mist by Stephen King, which, you know, Alan Wake, Stephen King reference would be best. But there was those spider creatures with the acidic web, and it gave me vibes of that, and I appreciated that because The Mist is like one of the few Stephen King works I actually like. That surprised me. Because, man, you know, I know leaping spiders exist in the real world, but I'm not sure that they just burst through concrete like that, you know?
The spiders aren't really the work of the enemy. They're a side effect. A part of the Dark Place's less significant fauna that has managed to slip through the opening I made when I arrived. Less an animal than an idea that has assumed the form of an animal.
That's very weird.
Makes them no less dangerous. But at least they're a little easier to deal with. The darkness doesn't protect them like the Taken, and thus they can be destroyed by either light or bullets right
The darkness
away.
kind of plays favorites with its children, you know? You're not supposed to, but the darkness totally does. Now we're gonna fix the telescope, but it's not gonna matter because the telescope's gonna break again. Spoiler warning, in like 10 seconds the telescope's gonna break again. Then we have to go out and fix it all over again. It's very exciting. I'm not sure what I was doing right there. Maybe I was having a seizure. I don't know. I don't know what I was doing or why I did that.
I found it!
Excellent. I'll operate the platform directly below the telescope so you can install the array. Don't worry, it's very easy. Hop on.
You'd think large equipment would like specialist equipment like this rather would take some kind of delicate procedure to repair parts from it. But look what we do. Fixed.
Brilliant. you've
Apparently
got
being
it.
a scientist is
I'll just
pretty
run a quick
easy.
diagnostic
Though that
on
shouldn't
it.
be too surprising, I guess,
Yes,
because as we
it's in
learned from Dead
perfect order.
Space, being a space engineer is pretty easy.
All right, we're good to go. Let's take a look at the skies.
Oh dear.
I have to shut this down.
Bloody
There's a problem
typical.
with the automated coolant system. Somebody just interrupted the flow.
So now what?
Well, you could go and open the secondary coolant flow valves manually. I know it's dangerous there, but, well,
I got it!
please come talk to me if you have questions.
Now at this point I'm just kind of being hopelessly thick, because I think there's a coolant valve in here. There isn't though, but we end up going and talking to that lady anyway, so it's not a total waste of our time, because she does have some new dialogue. Because see the star's like right here, so I'm like, is there one up here? But no, of course there isn't. Stupid me is stupid. But it's alright, we can chat to her, she has some things to say.
Is there something I should know about this coolant thing?
Oh no, it's quite straightforward. The telescope is very heavy, and moving it generates a lot of heat. So do all of the electronics.
Doesn't look that heavy, you know?
Overheating could cause damage,
Feel like
so
I
it
could
shuts
lift it.
down automatically if the coolant fluid isn't flowing. And hot electronics generate instrument noise, which we want to eliminate as much as
Of
possible.
course, of course.
What is this coolant anyway? Is it dangerous?
We use liquid nitrogen. It's quite safe.
If I can make it to the valves in one piece.
Yes, there is that. Good luck.
I'm assuming you didn't have this kind of trouble using the telescope earlier, when my double was here.
No, it went very smoothly. Until he turned into a nutter.
So our
This doppelganger
observatory is
of
this
yours doesn't
empty?
seem to
Because
want
there doesn't
anyone
seem to
else
be like a
look at
lot
this
of
phenomenon.
equipment in this
Honestly,
observatory,
it
you
seems
know?
a little pointless to me. There are many eyes on the sky.
I'm not sure what we're gonna get once this thing is working again, but I have a hunch. I doubt it has anything to do with outer space, or that anyone else can see it. I think it's a message from me.
For you? That seems unlikely. And even if it were a very localized phenomenon, surely it's visible to others in the area.
Maybe,
Sorry, excuse me.
but I wouldn't bet on it. There's a reason he came here, and a reason he doesn't want me looking at it.
It's very strange. Now past me is less thick and realizes that they are outside, I think. Does past me realize this, or does past me wander around being thick for a while? Come on, past me. Our reputation is on the line here. I know we don't have a reputation, but I'm hoping to acquire one from this escapade. Oh, no, he hasn't quite figured it out yet. No, he's like, is it in the men's room? Is the coolant valve in the men's room? No, past me, it's not in there.
It doesn't matter what order you do it in.
Oh, past me does kill himself in a second up here. I remember this. Like when we go to get the third valve, past me kills himself. I enjoy the way the combat is paced a lot more as well, because, you know, the first Alan Wake, it was really more of an action game than it was a survival horror game, because it just threw a lot of things at you, but they didn't really give you that much in the way of, like, ammo and flares and stuff, and, like, batteries as well. But in this game, they just give you a bunch. I've never picked up any batteries, so I guess they just regenerate up to 10 over time, which is cool. And like, there's just plenty of ways to refill your ammo. I appreciate that a lot more, you know? Oh, here's where past me kills himself. He's like, oh, come on, Alan. Alan can take this. He can, of course. I don't know why he thought he would. Alan in the first game could not take a fall like that. Why would he suddenly be able to? I mean, granted, he is wearing jeans and plaid this time. That's slightly more outdoorsy wear than the cardigan. You know, what do you think? Do you think that Alan looks better now, or do you think he looked better in the cardigan? Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. Do you like Trucker Alan, or do you like Starbucks Alan? Also, let me know, what do you think about the game? Like, let me know, because, you know, I want to know what other people think as well. Like, do you like the way that, like, if you've seen both games, do you like the way American Nightmare does things, or do you like the way the original Alan Wake does things? You know, let me know what you think about the game. Because I am interested to hear what other people think as well. I like to talk about video games, you know, I'm a fan of video games, you might say.
The darkness protects the taken.
And I like to talk about them with other
living
fans.
Things, protecting them from harm. Blows that would injure or kill a human outright mean nothing to them as long as the darkness persists. But light makes them vulnerable. Light burns the shadows away. The darkness that drives them is still in them, but now they're vulnerable. Flashlight and gun. Sometimes it feels they're all I have left.
They pretty much are. I mean, he's kind of stuck in that shadow in the lake, and like his wife probably dating someone else. You know, depending on how long he's been in there for, I guess. Now I'm like, oh, Poltergeist. God, I remember those. This game actually has some interesting enemies as well, compared to the other one. Because like, we've already seen the spiders, which are new, which is cool. But you guys, if you saw the first Alan Wake, or if you played the first Alan Wake, or you saw my playthrough, you remember the birds, right? Well, the birds show up in part 3, but they're handled in a very interesting way that I appreciate a lot more than the flocks. You'll see. We're actually being chased by a second poltergeist right now, but past me hasn't noticed yet. Now he's noticed. Because he's like, weird, the music's still playing. I almost missed that. I was very proud of myself at the time for noticing it.
My wife Alice was the sole thing in my life that anchored me. Suddenly it wasn't enough. I couldn't write anymore. I distracted myself with wild parties and whatever trouble I could scare up. I wallowed in the drama of my life, sure that Alice would stick with me even though she didn't sign up to be the lifeline of a tortured artist. It was my dumb luck she's not the type to give up.
Pretty touching. Touching romance. Also, while this is the episode where I ask for feedback, let me know what you think about this, like, post-recording style as well. I know I'm doing this unintentionally because I had just an issue with the recording, but, like, let me know if this is what you prefer, or if you prefer the live commentary as well. Like, because feedback's cool, you know? Let me know what you prefer.
Released all the valves,
and,
Doctor.
Is it working?
Who knows, maybe we could
Just
do,
bear
like,
with me a
both as
moment.
well. Maybe I could do, like,
Yes, I believe
some
it got
episodes
important.
live comments,
It's
like,
working
some
again.
episodes live
Nicely
commentary,
done.
some pre-recorded. Who knows? Let me know what you guys
That
think.
sounds like
you know?
trouble. I don't think they're happy with our success. Look out, they found a way in.
Now we have a little holdout part. This actually gets slightly intense towards the end, because right now there's like not very many. They start to add up. It does start to get back into the old Alan Wake ways a little bit, where they do start just spawning things behind you, and they like bum rush you from behind, which is not very cool, but it doesn't seem quite as bad in this game. Perhaps just because it's more combat-centric than the first Alan Wake, so you're sort of more tuned to it, you know? Or maybe, like, even more past me when he played the first Alan Wake game, was just a dirty casual who just needed to get good, you know? Who knows? Who knows? That's up to you to decide. I get absolutely wrecked by this guy, because the dudes with the sickles always, I remember, were the ones that wrecked me the most, because they're very fast. And then they all die, because she turned the lights on.
That was intense. I'm sighted in now. I still have no idea what I'm looking at, but it's very strange indeed. Oh, where are my manners? Please, come on up. I'm sorry, I was distracted.
That was rude of you, but it's okay. We will forgive. We'll forgive you.
Ha! Are we receiving the signal now?
Oh yes, it's coming in loud and clear. It's amazing. I'm not sure what it is yet, let alone where it's coming from, but it's interacting with our system somehow, like it was intended for us. But I don't understand how that could be.
Magic.
Maybe that's just how the story goes.
What?
Magic. Don't worry
Is
about
there a
it.
way I can hear it? Or however this is supposed to work?
I think the signal is incomplete somehow, but you should be getting a printout of it now.
Alan's managed to remain amazingly clean, hasn't
mean
he? I
it's
just
incomplete?
noticed.
It's almost as
Because,
if
like,
we're
he's
only
wearing a
getting
lot of
fragment it.
white,
I
but it's
need
completely
the whole
spotless
thing.
still.
This is important.
He's managing
I'm
to
sure
look
it is,
good
but this
during
is all
this.
we're getting.
Did the man who looks like me get the whole thing?
He locked me out of the booth, so I have no way of knowing.
Probably,
But I
though.
can tell you that he didn't really seem to understand it.
So, what's in the sky?
It doesn't
Stars.
make any sense. The
Space.
stars are just... they're wrong. I thought I'd be able to see something, but it's like I'm looking at a sky that's just... it's not the right sky. But that's impossible.
I consider myself a rational man, Doctor. But this isn't a thing you can measure or explain. I've seen impossible things that have taught me just to roll with some punches. It's either that or go insane.
I find it disturbing that you sound like you're speaking from ample experience.
You know, some weird stuff happened, and this is the
printout of a
forces
signal.
you to the next stage
It
without
too
warning
is
thing
a weapon
again.
created by the Champion of Light. In its words, stirs a new reality. But it is incomplete, and yet it provides a roadmap for the man to follow. A course that will lead him to a place where he may confront his enemy.
What could lie behind the scary door? Dun-dun-dun. That was a good show. Or a show within a show, I guess I should say. And we're about to end the episode here. I was very
The
amused by these
drive-in.
names, though.
Once the site of lurid celluloid fantasies, it's now the site of an art exhibition. And yet,
See, I didn't
it's
fully
the search
catch
for
those ones, so I look
closure
at these up
rather
here.
than culture that brings the
But my
champion of
favorite
light
is
here.
Samurai vs. Conquistador 2, The Return of Conquistador. That is a movie I would pay good money to see, because it sounds amazing, don't you agree? Also, Ham, a documentary, sounds very good. Also, Just Desserts is a fantastic pun. All in all, I like them all, except for Sunrise, which is just like, I guess it's meant to be ironic because of Alan Wake. But we're ending the episode here now. So, thank you all for watching, and until next time, ta-ta!